Hello, friends. My name is Matt, and I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield, and I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. So I've referenced this book before to you. This is called New Morning Mercies. It's by Paul David Tripp, and it's a devotional that I've gone through this past year and almost done with it now, as we're coming up on the end of the year. But and there's times that I read this in the morning, I go, gosh, I have to share this. This isn't my material, but I have to share this with those that I get the chance to speak life into. And so today, Paul David Tripp talked about these two foundational lies that were laid down in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. He says, wrapped into the devious temptation of the serpent in the garden were these two foundational lies. And of course, you have the question, well, what were the two foundational lies? And Tripp says that the first lie is this. It's the lie of autonomy. And what's that? Well, he says this lie tells you that you are an independent human, that your life belongs to you, and that you have the right to live your life as you please. He said that's lie number one. And then he says lie number two was this. He said the second lie is the lie of self-sufficiency. And this one is the one that I kind of want to unpack for us today. He says this lie tells you that you have everything within yourself to be what you're supposed to be and to do what you're supposed to do. Let me read that again. He says this lie of self-sufficiency is this lie that tells you that you have everything within yourself to be what you're supposed to be and to do what you're supposed to do. And boy, don't we hear that message said a lot. Be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and you can do it. You can be whatever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. And it's not that today I'm looking to speak against that which motivates us to work hard and do our best and have dreams and goals. And I think all those things are great. But what we need to remember as Christ followers is how dependent we are on our God. Because I know as a person who is an achiever and one who is success driven, who's also driven by accomplishing tasks, that often, if I allow myself, I can forget that I'm dependent on my Maker, that it's not just me who gets things done. It's not just me that I have as a source of life and power, but I have the God who made me, the God who, because I believe in Christ, lives within me, and that if I want to get His work done, if I want to do His will, I must be dependent on Him. And that He is the one who makes me sufficient because His grace is sufficient, right? And so Tripp, as he unpacks this in his devotional that I just read for you, he leads us to John 15. And perhaps as I say that book and chapter, right away you go, oh, I know what John 15 is. That's where Jesus talks about Him being the vine and we're the branches, and God the Father is the gardener. And it's a tremendous passage. It's one that Jesus talked to His disciples personally about, but it applies to us as well. And there's so many great things that Jesus says, but verse 4 is what really applies to what I just read to you and what I've been just kind of explaining to you today, that we are not self-sufficient, that we need God. And we have to be so careful not to get into our days and think that, man, I can just do it all. I am good enough, and I'm strong enough, and I'm powerful enough, and I can do this. Well, Jesus has something to say about that. He says in verse 4, I'm just going to read the one verse for you because I think it's plenty to chew on today. Remember, He's the vine, we're the branches, okay? He says, remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch, do you hear that? No branch, you, me, any branch, right? No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine, that's Christ. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. Friends, let me encourage you today, as I need to encourage myself. Abide in Christ, remain in Christ, go to Christ for everything. Whatever it is, trust Jesus to do the work, because as He says, no fruit will come out of us unless we remain in Him. And so let's abide in Him, let's go to Him and trust Him to produce the fruit in our lives. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.